All right, there were a lot of amazing speakers and a lot of great performances last night. But one of the most powerful messages was delivered by Afghanistan combat veteran and Pennsylvania congressional candidate Sean Parnell, who invited Democrats to see the light. Take a listen.
I look across the aisle and I do not see a party that wants you to pursue your dreams. I see a Democrat Party that wants to dictate what those dreams are. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you love, how you worship your gender or your job. If you're a traditional Democrat who's become disillusioned with how radical your party has become, then stand with us. You are most welcome.
Well, let's find out how many people are taking him up on the offer. Joining us now, Sean Parnell. Sean, welcome to the show. Very powerful speech last night.
Thank you.
Tell me, how did you started off thinking of probably, several months back, I'm going to run for Congress. I've served my country. I want to keep doing it. The next thing you know, you're on a national stage sending a message and an invitation to Democrats. What's going through your head, man? This has got to be amazing.
First of all, can I just say, I wasn't thinking about running for Congress at all. I was doing a charity event in South Carolina, and President Trump came to the district and gave a big speech and went off script and called me out randomly to run in October of 2019. And I get these calls from my mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there must be a death in the family. I pick it up and I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? She goes, Sean, are you running for Congress? She's like this fierce Italian woman. And I said, Ma, no, I'm not running for Congress. And she just goes, well, the president of the United States says that you're running for Congress. And I was like, Mom, what? Are you kidding me? And she sent me this video, and sure enough, it's President Trump calling me out to run. And so 2 weeks later, I got in the race, and we've been moving and grooving ever since. And I got to tell you, I left the military broken, right? And 10 years later, I'm riding around in the vice presidential motorcade. I got to talk to the president on the phone and speak at the Republican National Convention. It really is it's a dream come true for me. Just because my family, watching both conventions was sort of woven into the fabric of who our family was, and we have come from a family of Democrats and Republicans, and we'd sit around the table and debate each convention. So for me to be on the table and talking at one, really, it's overwhelming, and it's a dream come true.
Well, Sean, you spoke about your grandfather last night and how the Democratic Party has changed since he was a Democrat. Take a listen.
I watched with alarm as the party of my grandfather, a lifelong Union Democrat, turned against the very people it professed to represent. I watched as Joe Biden spit venom at an auto worker who dared to question Joe's intent to dismantle the Second Amendment and take your guns.
We actually have a clip from that exchange you were referencing there with Biden talking to that union worker. I want to show our audience just to show them what you were referencing.
You are actively trying to limit your Second Amendment right and take away our gun.
Shush.
When you say you're going to take our gun,
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones are putting out there. Say what they lie.
You guys want it.
I'm not worried.
Thanks so much.
Give me a break, man. Don't be such a worried.
Hey, there's a lot of
Wow. Makes you laugh or question a lot of things. But I got to ask you, Second Amendment rights have come up quite a few times during this election. You're in a swing state in Pennsylvania. Is this going to be a deciding factor for some folks during this election?
Yeah, Republicans and Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania are huge Second Amendment supporters. And I watched that video, and I think Joe Biden's campaign must be so grateful that they can just lock him in the basement. Because I remember watching that video, and I thought to myself, I wonder if Joe Biden can threaten to slap people all the way to the White House. They get him out on the campaign trail. All he does is threaten people, call people names, and in that instance, he was threatening physical violence on a union worker. And so over the course of my life, I've seen the Democratic Party slowly abandon the American working class. And over the last couple of years, there's been a paradigm shift to where the Republicans are now, look, we represent the American working class. And President Trump has brought back so many jobs to the state of Pennsylvania. And just think about it like this. Under Barack Obama and Joe Biden, Pennsylvania lost over 51,000 manufacturing jobs. In just 3 short years under President Trump, we've gained those jobs back, plus a net 13,000. People in the state of Pennsylvania, not only are they big Second Amendment supporters, but they feel they feel what President Trump has done, and really, he's just done tremendous things for the state of Pennsylvania, and that's why I think ultimately Pennsylvania is going to go for President Trump in November, and ultimately why I think I'm going to win my district as well.
Sean, okay, you gave a great speech. I said at the beginning. What else stood out for you last night, and what are you looking for tonight?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think, just to put it simply, the Democrat Party is really focused on the sins of America's past. But what makes this nation truly exceptional is not that we're perfect, right? Show me a country on the face of this planet that is. What makes America exceptional is that we always seek to right the ship, right? And so while the Democrats were solely focused on the past, I think Republicans were focused on projecting a message of optimism and a vision for the future. President Trump unshackled this economy like no other president in our history. And I think he's the best person positioned to do it all over again. And so tonight, I think look for more of that optimistic message coming out of the Republican Party and a vision for the future.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I love your Navy metaphors because it warms my heart to know that an Army guy has to resort to using Navy metaphors to get a good point across. So that plus an Italian mom that names her kid an Irish name. I mean, that's awesome. You're obviously moving. Sean, congratulations on a great speech.
Case study in contrasts.
Great speech last night. Congratulations. Stay safe on the campaign trail. We hope to hear back from you soon.
Thank you both for having me.
Well, our next guest was a former Planned Parenthood director, but now she is a leading pro-life advocate who will be speaking tonight at the RNC. Joining us now is the author and CEO of the Pro-Life Group, And Then There Were None, Abby Johnson. Abby, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, well, you're speaking tonight. Give us a little preview about what you're going to talk about.
Well, I have a very real lived experience of working inside of the abortion clinic, inside of our country's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood. And so I felt like I needed to talk about that specifically. I feel very called to expose Planned Parenthood and sort of their seedy underbelly. And so I talk about that specifically. I talk about I talk about abortion very specifically and graphically. I feel like people need to understand what abortion is, and that it's not some romanticized medical procedure that the media has made it out to be. And so I'm going to call it for what it really is. And people will not be able to walk away and say, well, gosh, I didn't know what abortion was. They're going to know. They're going to know what Planned Parenthood is all about. And I'm even going to discuss what the foundation of Planned Parenthood is, that it was founded on racism. I'm going to discuss their founder, Margaret Sanger. And so I only have 5 minutes, but I've packed quite a bit into that 5 minutes that I have.
Well, it sounds like you're going to pack a lot in there. Are you able to pack in at all Kamala Harris's record on her support for abortion?
I talk about that a little bit. And, importantly, I wanted to talk about President Trump's record on life and what he has done for the unborn. He has an unprecedented record on policies that he has passed, supporting life and supporting the pro-life movement and standing against abortion. And so I definitely wanted to talk about that, and I do. And I want people to really think about what a Biden-Harris presidency would look like. It would be devastating for the unborn. It would be devastating for all of the state legislative gains that we have made throughout this country. And so, I wanted people to understand what that looks like.
Real quick, can you tell us, we just have a minute left, but what really made you walk away from the pro-choice movement?
Well, several things, being told that I had to double my abortion quota, my abortion count at Planned Parenthood, but ultimately seeing a 13-week-old baby fight and struggle for its life against the abortion instruments in an ultrasound-guided abortion procedure. And I knew then that there was humanity in the womb, there was life in the womb, and if those two things were true, I knew that I had believed a lie, and I knew that I could no longer participate in abortion ever again.
Abby, we're looking forward to hearing your speech tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your moving story with us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, coming up, we're going to get an inside look at the vibe in Charlotte, where the RNC was supposed to take place and partially still is. A couple delegates who were there are going to join us next.